Imagine waking up in total darkness, huddled beside your family, the scent of smoke in your hair, and the cold bite of morning air in your bones. Outside, wolves are howling and you still have to hunt, make tools, avoid predators, and maybe even find time to fall in love. What did early humans really do all day? Forget what cartoons told you. This isn't about clubs and grunting. It's about survival, community, rituals, and the surprisingly complex rhythm of a caveman's daily life. Let's step into their world, hour by hour. Imagine it's just before sunrise, before light, before warmth, before certainty. You're not in a bed, but on a bed of dried grass and animal skins. Your back aches. Your nose is filled with the earthy mix of smoke, sweat, and damp stone. You're one of Homo sapiens, 30,000 years ago, in a world without electricity, comfort, or guarantees. The cave is quiet at first, only the low breathing of your family and the occasional snore. But outside, the world is already awake. You hear distant rustling, the thump of something moving through the trees, maybe prey, maybe predator. Every morning begins with a choice. Do we risk going out today? Do we stay put and hope for leftovers? No alarms, no schedules, no emails, just instincts. And instincts say, move early, eat early. The tribe stirs. One of the elders stokes the embers from last night's fire, blowing gently until a tiny flame returns. Fire is everything. Heat, light, safety. Without it, your cave becomes a cold tomb. Children cling to mothers. Hunters check their tools, stone blades, sharpened sticks, or spears. Some are chipped or cracked. Repairs take time, but going out without them is suicide. You might think they were always running, always afraid, but that's not the whole truth. There's laughter, quiet and quick. There's teasing, even among danger. There's routine. One woman is already grinding roots into a paste. Another plats a basket from reeds gathered days ago. The day has begun, not with panic, but with practiced motion. Because when you live at the edge of extinction, ritual is survival. Once the fire's crackling and the cave begins to glow, the tribe gathers for what we'd today call a morning meeting. But there's no talking stick, no schedule. Just shared looks, gestures, and a few well-understood grunts or signs. Communication is still developing, but intention is clear. Everyone knows what's at stake: food, safety, and shelter. The adults begin planning who will do what. Today's options: forage, hunt, gather wood, guard the children. It's not always split by gender, but certain roles have formed from practicality. Those best at tracking might go into the forest. Those skilled with herbs or roots stay nearby to search. Elders, too slow to travel, tend the fire, watch the young, and most importantly, remember. Memory was their library. They remembered which plants were poison, which rocks flaked into blades, where the wild boars passed last winter. The hunting group prepares silently. Spears are tested by stabbing tree trunks. Nets, if they have them, are untangled. It's dangerous very time. One wrong move and you're the hunted. Before leaving, some tribes practiced rituals for luck, rubbing ash on the face, whispering to ancestors, or drawing shapes in the dirt. These weren't silly superstitions, they were emotional armor, a way to face the unknown. Meanwhile, others get to work near the cave. Children help collect dry twigs for kindling. A few older girls head to a familiar patch of berry bushes. One misstep into the wrong shadow. And even foragers could vanish forever. Despite the tension, there's a rhythm to it. These people aren't clueless cavemen, they're strategic, coordinated survivors. By mid-morning, the forest is alive. The hunting party is deep into the woods, moving in near silence. Every snapped twig could give them away or draw in something far worse. Tracking animals like deer or boar isn't just about speed, it's about reading the ground, sniffing the air, and sensing the patterns of prey. These early humans were hunters. Yes, but more than that, they were listeners. One of them spots it, faint hoofprints near a water source. The group fans out, forming a slow arc. No shouting, no sprinting, just patience, timing, and teamwork. Their weapons aren't perfect stone-tipped spears and crude slings, but they know how to use them. When the moment comes, it's all muscle and instinct. A burst of speed, a scream, blood. Sometimes they come back with meat, sometimes with injuries, sometimes not at all. Back near the cave, the rest of the tribe waits. Time moves slowly when you're unsure who will return. Some make tools. Others weave baskets or scrape hides to make crude clothing. One mother holds her toddler close, eyes always drifting toward the woods. This is the part of their day that carried the most emotional weight, the waiting. They knew life was fragile, that the ones who left in the morning might not return by dusk. And when they did, covered in dirt and blood, holding the legs of a deer or the remains of a wild pig, cheers would erupt. Not loud ones, but smiles, nods, tears. They didn't write poems or record names, but they celebrated survival. Every returned hunter, every shared meal, every evening together was sacred. The sun hasn't yet reached its peak, but already they've faced a dozen life or death decisions. And this was just the morning. The sun now hangs high in the sky, and the forest heat begins to thicken. If the morning was about finding prey, midday is when the real chase begins. The hunters are tracking closely, no one eye on the trail, one ear tuned for danger. They've spotted movement, maybe a deer, or better yet, a boriski, but enough to feed the tribe for days. The air tenses. One hunter gestures silently. Everyone freezes. Then, without a sound, they begin a slow, practiced maneuver. Flank, corner, close in. They don't have bows, yet those are millennia away. Their tools are spears, tipped with sharpened stone or bone. Blades, they chipped by hand, hours at a time, until the edge was cruel enough to kill. Some carry bola stones tied with sinew, meant to trip prey mid-run. Then comes the charge. A coordinated burst of speed. The prey panics, tries to flee, but one spear finds its mark. The animal crashes to the ground, thrashing. Another hunter ends it quickly, respectfully. There's no whooping or boasting, just fast, quiet work. The body is inspected. If the heart's intact, it's seen as a good omen. They drain the blood carefully, clean the meat with obsidian tools if they have them, and carry it back using makeshift sleds of bark or hide. This isn't just survival, this is craft. Every step from the ambush to the kill to the carry is the product of generations of passed down knowledge. Hunting isn't a sport. It's identity, legacy, and ceremony. And as they begin the long walk back, stained with blood and sweat, they're not just bringing food, they're bringing proof. We endured another day. While the hunters labor in the forest, life doesn't slow down back at the caveat shifts. This is the time of the day when the makers, gatherers, and firekeepers shape the tribe's future in quieter but equally vital ways. One group is sitting just outside the cave mouth, sunlight helping them work. Their flint napping, striking stone against stone to shape new blades. It's delicate work, not brute force. One wrong hit and the entire tool cracks. Each shard is assessed. If it's sharp, it becomes a scraper. If it's strong, it becomes a spear tip. These aren't disposable tools, they're lifelines. Nearby, two women are weaving animal sinew into rope, their hands moving automatically, as if guided by muscle memory. Another is sewing hide garments using bone needles and gut thread, tough, waterproof, and warm. Clothing here isn't fashion. It's armor against the cold, thorns, and disease. Firekeeping, though, may be the most sacred task of all. A low fire burns constantly in the cave's center, and someone is always watching it, not just tending the flames, but guarding them. Fire isn't just heat, it's protection from predators, light after sunset, and the core of cooking and tool-making. Children gather sticks and dry moss to fuel it. Teens learn to spark flames by striking flint or using friction between wood. It can take hours. But the moment the first flicker appears, that's magic. Not in a mythical sense, but in a real, emotional way. A life-giving moment shared by all early humans. There's no formal school here, but the cave is always teaching. Through repetition, observation, and instinct, knowledge is passed from hands to hands. And just like that, while spears fly far away, civilization is being built in silence, one spark and shard at a time. The hunters return just as the sun begins to slide from its peak. They're exhausted, streaked with blood, dragging their Prisia wild boar in a sled of branches. The moment they appear, A ripple of movement goes through the tribe. Not fear relief. The unspoken question of the day, did they make it back, is finally answered. No one claps or cheers. Instead, people rise and get to work. The kill is honored, not celebrated. One elder draws a few lines in the dirt, maybe a ritual, maybe record-keeping. Children point, eyes wide. They're learning, watching how survival happens in real time. The carcass is laid out on a flat rock. First, they remove the organs. Some will be cooked, others buried. Nothing is wasted. The best cuts go to the strongest, usually the hunters. But everyone eats, even the sick and old. In a world this harsh, community isn't optional, it's survival. As the sun dips lower, the fire is fed with dry wood until it flares. Meat is skewered on sticks or laid flat on hot stones. Smoke fills the air, pungent, greasy, familiar, the scent of security. For a few precious hours, the focus shifts from danger to nourishment. The tribe sits in a loose circle, passing food, talking softly. These moments matter just as much as the kill itself. This is where trust is built, where bonds are formed, where a child might ask a question or mimic the way their father grips a spear. And though no one says it aloud, everyone knows. Today was a good day. No one died. The fire is alive. There's food in their stomachs. In this world, that's more than enough. The forest changes as the light fades. Shadows stretch long across the clearing, and the air cools quickly. For early humans, this wasn't just a shift in the environment, it was a warning. Day belonged to humans. Night belonged to everything else. As dusk settles, the tribe instinctively draws closer to the fire. The flickering orange light reflects off their faces, making their eyes glow like embers. No one strays far now. Even bold children stay within arm's reach of the adults. Out there, beyond the cave's reach, lurk wolves, hyenas, saber-toothed cats, things that stalk the night silently. So, the tribe does what humans have always done when they're afraid of the dark. They make meaning. They talk. They tell stories. One elder, her voice raspy from age and smoke, begins to speak. The younger ones hush, eyes wide. She's not reading from a book. There are no books. What she has is memory. And from that memory, she weaves a tale. Maybe it's about a great hunt, or a spirit who lives in the trees, or a foolish man who wandered too far and became a shadow. The stories aren't just entertainment. They're instruction manuals, morality lessons, cultural glue. They tell you where the danger lies and who you are. Beside her, a boy beats softly on a hollow log. Another hums, a low note. It's not quite music, not yet. But it's a beginning, a beat, a rhythm, a ritual. Something uniquely human. The darkness may have taken the land, but here by the fire, something brighter is forming. Memory, imagination, identity. And in that quiet moment between fear and sleep, humanity evolves just a little more. As the last of the meat is passed around and the stars begin to poke through the darkening sky, the tribe relaxes cautiously. They're never entirely safe, but here, within the glow of the fire and the warmth of their people, the pressure of survival lifts just slightly. It's during this window between work and rest that humans do something extraordinary. They connect, not just for strategy or survival, but for emotion. A woman braids her sister's hair, humming softly. Two children curl up beside an elder, listening to stories they've already heard 100 times but still love. Across the fire, a young couple exchanges glances, tentative, awkward, sweet. Romance wasn't invented in modern times. Even here, under a canopy of stars and danger, people craved closeness, comfort, affection, a touch on the shoulder, a shared laugh, a hand held just a little too long. These weren't just urges, they were threads weaving a community together. And with no written language, no scrolls or carvings yet, everything love, grief, pride was passed on face to face, night by night. Some would share their fears aloud, the cries they heard in the night, the shadows at the edge of the trees. Others offered comfort not always with words, but with closeness, a blanket shared. A song hummed, a simple, "You're not alone." This is where the tribe became more than just a group of bodies hunting and gathering. It became a family. No one had to say it. You could feel it in the way people sat closer than necessary, the way someone passed an extra bite of meat to an elder without being asked. In this world of harsh days and uncertain tomorrows, nighttime wasn't just a pause. It was the soul of being human. The fire burns lower, no embers glowing more than flames. One by one, the tribe settles into their places for the night. There's no furniture, no walls, no privacy. Just warmth from the fire, the presence of others, and maybe a fur or hide for comfort. Sleep comes differently here. It's lighter, interrupted, ears stay half alert. Even in their dreams, early humans are tuned to danger cracks in the forest, sudden movement, a shift in the wind. But within this cave, surrounded by people they trust, sleep also becomes sacred. There's a rhythm to it. Mothers curl protectively around children. The old lie near the fire for warmth. Partners huddle for body heat and comfort. No one sleeps alone because isolation means vulnerability. And as silence falls, the cave echoes with soft breathing, distant howls, and the occasional crack of wood in the fire. Above them, stars wheel through the night, sky-familiar constellations they don't yet name, but still recognize. Some tribes believe those stars were spirits, ancestors, watchers. For a brief, beautiful moment, the world feels still, not safe, never completely safe, but still. And in that stillness, the tribe dreams. Maybe of hunts gone wrong, or of animals that speak, or of lost loved ones. Dreaming wasn't just rest, it was rehearsal, imagination, the testing ground of future fears and possibilities. Because even back then, before language or law or legend, the human mind needed to wander, to wonder, to escape. Tomorrow they'll rise again. Light the fire, make the tools, risk their lives, start the whole thing over. But for now, in the glow of dying fire and the hush of shared breath, they rest. And somewhere in their dreams, the story of us quietly continues. So, what did cavemen actually do all day? They fought for food, shaped the first tools, watched over fires like lifelines. They formed bonds, told stories, fell in love, and protected each other through freezing nights and predator-filled forests. They weren't just surviving, they were living. Every scraped hide, every whispered tale, every ember kept glowing through the night that was the foundation of us. Because under all the fur and firelight, they weren't so different from you. They worried, they hoped, they built, they failed, they cared. And while we scroll through phones, sip coffee, and worry about inboxes, it's worth remembering. We carry their fire inside us. The same instincts, the same needs, the same drive to connect, create, and endure. So, next time someone says caveman like it's an insult, just smile. Because if not for them, there'd be no you.